Last week, John talked with us about that God has different experience and different reaction to each one of us according to our own character, our own needs, our own personality makeup. God really treats us as individuals. Unlike the common misunderstanding that God does not care about us, or He only has rules for us to follow without any regard to our own needs, our own character, our own makeup. And He gave us examples about God's different reactions to 4 people: Abraham, Zacharias, Sarah, and Saint Mary. And today is a story that is also unique. Jesus passing by a tax collector, and He told him to follow Him. So he followed Him. It's really brief. But when we dig deeper, we'll find that this person and many other people in the Bible, they had different stories with God. And my question for you this morning, and for me as well, is what is your story? What is your story with God? Because the problem is that, and I've been hearing it from many of our youth, is that we end up just saying teachings, saying the law. And as in the woes to the Pharisees and the scribes, God is warning those Pharisees that they only follow the law for their own benefit, and they are only teachers of the law, are not doers of the law. So we end up, because we are so comfortable in our zone here, we just end up repeating what we do, what we say, and the end result is that it is just the law, without having any personal touch with it, without really witnessing to God what is our experience in following that law. And this is one of the stories here. Jesus saw a tax collector. This person was busy, not doing the work of God, but actually betraying his country, being loyal with the occupier. And so, in the eyes of people, he was really a traitor. He was not a friend. But then Jesus Himself passed by him, saw his needs on the inside, and just told him 2 words: follow me. And this person, as he was just waiting for these 2 words, waiting and longing that God will look upon him and feel his cry and his need, because nobody did. They all judged him. But Jesus saw him in the place of his sin, if I may say, of the action that was judged and condemned by everybody. He saw him, and He told him He's interested in him. And this person followed him. So when did you feel that God was interested in you? When did Jesus pass by you? Think about it. How about, and instead of having your kids sit down around you and tell them what to do, what not to do, how about you open your heart and tell them when God touched your heart, personally? I've been learning this lesson for the past few weeks, and I'm trying to be a better person at it. But then it is also not a request from the youth or from people. It is a request by God, where in the book of Deuteronomy. In chapter 6, it says that here, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God. Again, the law. Love God from all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. And this is we know, right? But then, and these words which I command you today shall be in your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children. We've been doing that. Teach. And shall talk of them when you sit in your home, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, when you rise up. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall as a frontlets between your eyes. You shall write them on the doorstops of your house and on your gates. Thus far, I believe most of us have been doing that. Teaching, 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 having icons all over our houses, having the crosses and everywhere, warning our kids, reminding them, do this, don't do that, follow the Lord, come to church early. We've been doing that very well. But then in verse 20, when your son asks you in time to come, there is a time that when your children will say, you know what, it doesn't make sense anymore, tell me why. What's the reason? Why you're doing this? Why I should follow this? What is the meaning of the, so when your son or daughter, of course, asks you in time to come saying, what is the meaning of the testimonies, the statutes, and the judgments which the Lord our God has commanded you? Why will do all this? Then you shall say to your son, you will start to tell them, not this is the right thing, and you just have to follow me and to obey me and just say yes. No. Open up your heart and tell your story, your personal story with the Lord. Then you shall say, we were slaves of Pharaoh in Egypt, and the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand. Talk about how God showed you his hand in your own life. And the Lord showed signs and wonders before our eyes, great and severe, against Egypt, Pharaoh, and all his household. Then he brought us out from here, that he might bring us in to give us the land of which he swore to our fathers. Don't tell me because we are the right and the true only church. Don't say this is what we should do and that's it. Or listen to me. Explain. Why? What is the reason that you come every week here? What is the reason that you have a fellowship with the Lord? And the Lord commanded us to observe all these statutes, to fear the Lord our God for our good always, that he might preserve us alive at this day. Then it will be righteous for us if you're careful to observe all these commands. So start with your story, start with the reason why, and then why we should follow the law of God. So what is your story with God? What do you remember that God has done with you mightily? And not just he got you out of trouble at some point, no. But how God has touched you personally in your heart and changed you into a different person. Morally, spiritually, socially, at all levels. What is your story? My story is that the word God, the lover of mankind. We say it a lot. He is the God, the lover of mankind. And everyone, I grew up just repeating this word. God, he is the lover of mankind. But then on a retreat, the preacher talked about this description of God. He is the lover of mankind. And he talked about it in depth. At the end, I discovered that this God, the lover of mankind, he also loved me with my name, with my story, with my weaknesses, with my strength, with the way I am. And this God, the lover of mankind, he also is the God, the lover of me, and he's interested in me. and He wants to rejoice with me, and His delight is with me. So I felt that I am so special. And it was a special moment when God really touched my heart and changed me into a different person. So I'm asking you, what is your story? What can you tell your children, and not only your children, how you can testify and witness to people in your life about how God has changed you on the inside? Again, maybe our understanding of God, okay, God will save me from trouble, He will get me married soon, He will get me a good job, He will make me pass this test, and this is what I just expect from God, and God has a law, and I have to follow Him. This is okay, but it is really dry. There is no story here. But the story is God changed you, changed the way you think, change the way you feel, you love, change the way you view the world and view yourself. I told you my story, and I hope in the coming weeks we can start maybe a new 5 minutes when each one of us here will just stand up and tell, this is my story. How about that? And instead of just coming and listening to the law, let's witness how the law of God, how God of the law has changed my life completely. And if He hasn't changed your life yet, ask for it. Be like that tax collector who was just so busy doing his day-to-day business. But I'm sure that on the inside, he was longing, he was crying for God to pass by him. And God did. And only told him 2 words, follow me. Maybe you want to ask God to stop by you at some point during your day. Perhaps you are crying on the inside. You're so lonely. You feel so unloved. Or you are troubled in your mind and your soul and whatever is troubling you. And maybe this time you just need to ask God not to put a Band-Aid on the scar or on the wound, but to change the whole person. Change me. Put in me a new heart, a new way of thinking, because I'm tired of coming here, sitting and listening to the law, and the law doesn't do me anything. And I haven't been getting any answers. So I need you to answer me. Give me the reason why I should follow you. Let's learn how to talk with God in this personal way, that I need to have a story with you. Or if you have a story, maybe it's an old story, ask for a new one. God doesn't stop in the past. God is of the present and of the future as well. But at least starts at some point. This is how God changes hearts. This is how God deals with us. So personable, so individual. God knows why you came here today. God knows what's on your heart, what's on your mind. Maybe He knows that you really hate to come here today. And it is okay. But He's still interested in you. He still wants you. And He wants to reach out to you in your own way. Tell Him. But don't leave this place. And never leave His presence without a new story. If you read through the Bible, Jesus, everyone passed by Him, had a story, unless this person didn't want. But every person was touched as Jesus stopped by him or her. So be that person too. At the end, your story will become a source of praise. As the psalm said today before the gospel, the heavens will praise your wonders, O Lord, your faithfulness also in the assembly of the saints. This is why we need to start witnessing to God in the assembly of the saints, which is the church. Blessed are the people, you, who know the joyful sound. We are joyful because God has touched our hearts. I have a story with God, and I can't wait to tell everyone about it. The people who know the joyful sound, they walk, O Lord, in the light of your face or of your countenance. Blessed who have joyful sound, telling their story with God. Let's be these people. To him all glory forever. Amen.